Have you ever noticed something strange happening inside you when someone treats you well? When someone shows up consistently, communicates openly, respects your boundaries, and offers you the kind of love you've always said you wanted, instead of feeling relief or joy, you feel a creeping sense of discomfort. Maybe your chest tightens. Maybe you start finding flaws in this wonderful person. Maybe you suddenly feel an overwhelming urge to pull away or create distance. You might even catch yourself thinking that something must be wrong, that this kindness feels too good to be true, that you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. And here's what makes this experience even more confusing and painful. You know logically that this person is good for you. You can see clearly that they're offering you exactly what you've been searching for in relationships. Yet emotionally, your body is screaming danger signals. Your nervous system is treating healthy love like a threat. You might find yourself sabotaging the connection, picking fights over small things, or feeling an inexplicable urge to run back to the chaos and unpredictability that once felt normal. If this resonates with you, I want you to know that what you're experiencing is not a character flaw or a sign that you're broken beyond repair. This discomfort with healthy love has deep roots in your attachment history and your nervous system's learned responses to intimacy. Today, we're going to explore why your body rejects the very thing your heart has been longing for. And more importantly, I'm going to share with you the pathway that has helped countless people move from fearing healthy love to finally being able to receive it. This isn't just another video about choosing better partners or recognizing red flags. We're going deeper than that. We're going to understand the invisible forces that have been shaping your emotional responses since childhood. And we're going to talk about how to rewire these patterns so that love can finally feel safe instead of threatening. If you've already felt trapped in emotional patterns that seem impossible to break, know that you are not alone in this journey. Here on the channel, we've created a safe space to understand these dynamics together. If this content is resonating with something inside you, consider subscribing so we can continue this important conversation. Each video is like a small step toward healing, and I'm here walking beside you every step of the way. Now let's talk about what's really happening in your nervous system when healthy love triggers discomfort instead of peace. When you grew up in an environment where love was inconsistent, conditional, or came with strings attached, your nervous system learned to associate intimacy with unpredictability. Maybe your parents were loving one moment and cold the next. Perhaps affection was something you had to earn through achievement or good behavior. Maybe expressing your needs led to rejection or anger. Or perhaps the adults in your life were dealing with their own unresolved trauma, addiction, or mental health struggles, which meant that your emotional world was constantly shifting beneath your feet. In these environments, your young nervous system adapted brilliantly to survive. You learned to stay hypervigilant, always scanning for signs of incoming rejection or abandonment. You learned that calmness might be the quiet before the storm. You learned that when things felt good, it was often temporary, and pain was usually around the corner. This wasn't conscious learning. Your body absorbed these patterns at a cellular level, encoding them as fundamental truths about how love works and what intimacy means. Fast forward to your adult relationships, and here's what happens. When someone offers you consistent, stable, predictable love, your nervous system doesn't recognize it. Stability feels foreign. Consistency feels suspicious. Kindness without conditions feels like a trap. Your body, trying to protect you based on old programming, interprets this unfamiliar, peaceful feeling as danger. It's similar to how someone who has only ever lived in a war zone might find complete silence more frightening than the sound of distant explosions, because at least the explosions are familiar and predictable. Your nervous system prefers the devil it knows over the angel it doesn't recognize. This shows up in relationships in specific and painful ways. You might find yourself attracted to people who are emotionally unavailable because that familiar dance of pursuing and being rejected feels like home. When someone is hot and cold with you, your nervous system recognizes the pattern and knows how to navigate it, even though it hurts. But when someone is consistently warm, your system doesn't have a script for that. You don't know what to do with steady affection because you never learned that language in your formative years. So you might unconsciously create drama to return things to a familiar emotional temperature. You might pick fights about small things, not because you're intentionally trying to sabotage the relationship, but because conflict feels more normal than peace. You might test your partner constantly, pushing them away to see if they'll leave, because abandonment is what your body expects. And on some level, the anticipation of abandonment feels worse than abandonment itself. At least if they leave now, you don't have to live with the anxiety of wondering when it will happen. Another pattern that emerges is what I call the comfort ceiling. You can only tolerate a certain amount of emotional closeness or happiness before you hit an invisible threshold that triggers overwhelming anxiety. Imagine you've lived your entire life in a room with a 7-foot ceiling, and suddenly, someone moves you into a room with a 12-foot ceiling. Even though objectively you have more space and freedom, you might find yourself constantly ducking and feeling claustrophobic because your body is calibrated for the lower ceiling. Similarly, if your early experiences taught you that you deserve only a certain amount of love or happiness, receiving more than that amount triggers an internal alarm system. Your mind might generate thoughts like, I don't deserve this, or this is too good to last, or there must be something wrong with them if they want to be with me. These thoughts aren't random. They're your psyche's attempt to make sense of the anxiety your body is experiencing when you exceed your learned comfort ceiling. There's also the phenomenon of mistaking anxiety for attraction and calmness for lack of chemistry. If your early attachment experiences were chaotic or unpredictable, your nervous system might have learned to associate the adrenaline and cortisol of anxiety with the feeling of being in love. That racing heart, those obsessive thoughts, that constant wondering where you stand. These stress responses got mislabeled as passion or chemistry in your mind. So when you meet someone who makes you feel calm, safe, and secure, your body might interpret that absence of anxiety as an absence of attraction. You might think the spark isn't there, when really what's missing is the familiar suffering. This is one of the most heartbreaking patterns I see. People walking away from genuinely good partners because they mistake peace for boredom and anxiety for excitement. They're essentially rejecting health because illness has become their normal state. Let me paint a picture of what this might look like in real life. You start dating someone new. They text you back consistently. They make plans and follow through. They ask about your day and actually listen to the answer. They respect when you need space, but also make it clear they enjoy your company. They don't play games. They communicate directly about their feelings and intentions. And instead of feeling grateful or excited, you feel a mounting sense of dread. You start noticing small things about them that annoy you, things that probably wouldn't bother you in someone who was treating you poorly. You find yourself comparing them unfavorably to your ex, the one who could barely commit to weekend plans and made you feel like you were constantly auditioning for their affection. You start creating distance, maybe taking longer to respond to their messages, or suddenly becoming very busy. You might even start flirting with other people, or keeping your options open in ways you wouldn't if you were truly invested. And the worst part is you know what you're doing. You can see yourself sabotaging something good, but you feel powerless to stop it, because the discomfort is so visceral, so physical, that no amount of logical reasoning seems to override it. Quero pausar por momento e perguntar diretamente a você. Qual parte dessa dinâmica emocional ressoa mais profundamente com a sua experiência? Talvez você esteja sentindo nó na garganta neste exato momento, reconhecendo padrões que viveu repetidamente e nunca conseguiu nomear. Ou talvez você esteja revivendo conversas e momentos em que seu coração parecia implorar por conexão, enquanto algo dentro de você simultaneamente temia essa mesma proximidade. Saiba que sua história, sua experiência única, pode ser exatamente o que outra pessoa precisa ler hoje para sentir que não está sozinha nessa jornada. Se você se sentir confortável, deixe nos comentários. Reconheço esse padrão quando blank. Complete essa frase com sua própria experiência. Não subestime o poder de suas palavras. O que para você pode parecer apenas um desabafo, para outra pessoa pode ser o momento em que ela finalmente se sente compreendida, após anos de confusão e dor silenciosa. Essa comunidade que estamos construindo juntos é um espaço seguro, onde podemos nomear esses padrões invisíveis que por tanto tempo controlaram nossas vidas e relacionamentos. Cada comentário genuíno é como uma pequena luz que ilumina o caminho para outra pessoa. E se você preferir apenas observar desta vez, está tudo bem também. Sua presença aqui já é significativa. Now let's go deeper into understanding the specific attachment wounds that create this discomfort with healthy love, because recognizing the origin of these patterns is the first step toward healing them. If you had an anxious attachment style develop in childhood, you learned that love is something you have to work for, chase, or earn. Your caregivers might have been inconsistent in their availability, sometimes responsive and sometimes dismissive, which taught you to constantly monitor the emotional temperature of your relationships and work overtime to maintain connection. As an adult, This translates into a nervous system that equates effort with love. If you're not struggling to maintain someone's interest, if you're not decoding mixed signals or trying to win them over, it doesn't feel like real love. Healthy love, which comes freely and consistently without you having to perform or prove your worth, can feel almost insulting to the part of you that learned your value, comes from how hard you work for affection. It's like you've trained your entire life for a marathon, and suddenly someone is offering you a ride to the finish line. Instead of relief, you feel confused and even suspicious. What do they want from me? Why are they being so nice? This must be a manipulation tactic. Your mind generates these explanations because it cannot compute kindness without ulterior motives. If you developed an avoidant attachment style, your experience is different, but equally painful. You likely learned early on that depending on others leads to disappointment, or that expressing your emotional needs results in shame, rejection, or being seen as weak. So you adapted by becoming self-sufficient, learning to meet your own needs, and building walls around your heart. You pride yourself on your independence, and you might even see your ability to not need anyone as a strength. But here's what this creates in adult relationships. When someone tries to get close to you emotionally, when they want to truly know you and be there for you, your nervous system perceives this as a threat to your autonomy. Intimacy feels like suffocation, vulnerability feels like weakness, and healthy love, which requires both intimacy and vulnerability, triggers a powerful urge to flee or create distance. You might intellectually want a deep connection, but when someone offers it to you, your body screams run. You find reasons why they're not right for you. You focus on their flaws. You convince yourself you're better off alone. And underneath all of this self-protection is often a deep fear that if you let someone truly see you, all of you, they will discover that you're not worthy of love, and they will leave. So you leave first, or you keep them at arm's length, maintaining the illusion of connection without the risk of true intimacy. For those who experience trauma, neglect, or abuse in childhood, the discomfort with healthy love can be even more pronounced and complex. If the people who were supposed to love and protect you were also the ones who hurt you, your brain created what's called a disorganized attachment pattern. This means that your nervous system has conflicting programming. You desperately crave love and connection, but you also associate closeness with danger. It's like having your foot on the gas and the brake simultaneously. When someone treats you well, part of you yearns to move closer, but another part of you is scanning for signs of danger, waiting for the kindness to transform into cruelty the way it did in your past. This creates an exhausting internal experience where you can never fully relax into receiving love because you're always braced for impact. You might find yourself attracted to people who recreate the dynamic you experienced in childhood, not because you consciously want to be hurt, but because your nervous system is trying to master the original trauma. There's an unconscious belief that if you can just get this unavailable, hurtful, or unpredictable person to finally love you consistently, it will somehow heal the wound from your parent or caregiver who couldn't love you the way you needed. This is called repetition compulsion, and it's why you might keep choosing partners who are emotionally similar to your difficult parent, even though you swore you'd never do that. What makes all of this even more challenging is that our culture often romanticizes unhealthy relationship dynamics. Movies and songs teach us that real love is turbulent, that passion requires drama, that if you're not feeling anxious or jealous, then you must not really care. We're taught that love is supposed to hurt, that you should be willing to fight for it, that the right person will make you feel crazy. These messages reinforce the nervous system patterns we developed in childhood, making it even harder to recognize and value healthy love when it appears. You might have someone in your life right now who treats you well, and your friends or family might be telling you how lucky you are, but you feel secretly bored or uninspired. This isn't because there's anything wrong with you or with them. It's because your nervous system needs recalibration. You need to learn a new language of love, one where security feels exciting and consistency feels romantic. So how do you begin to heal this pattern and make healthy love feel safe instead of threatening? The first and perhaps most important step is developing what psychologists call earned secure attachment. This means that even if you didn't receive secure attachment in childhood, you can create it for yourself as an adult through conscious awareness and practice. It starts with recognizing and naming the discomfort when it arises. When you feel that familiar urge to pull away from someone who's treating you well, instead of automatically acting on it, pause. Place your hand on your heart or your belly. Take a few deep breaths. Say to yourself, This discomfort is not danger. This is my nervous system encountering something unfamiliar. I am safe even though this feels strange. This simple act of creating space between the feeling and the action is revolutionary. You're beginning to interrupt the automatic pattern that has been running your relationship choices for years. The next step is learning to sit with the discomfort without trying to make it go away immediately. Our instinct when we feel anxious or uncomfortable is to do something to change the feeling. We might pick a fight, create distance, or sabotage the relationship to return to familiar emotional territory. Instead, practice tolerating the sensation of unfamiliar safety. This is similar to physical therapy after an injury. At first, the movements that will ultimately heal you are uncomfortable and feel wrong, but with repeated practice they become easier, and eventually, they feel natural. The same is true for emotional healing. Each time you choose to stay present with healthy love instead of running from it, you're retraining your nervous system. You're teaching your body that calm can be trusted, that consistency is not boring but actually liberating, that you don't have to earn every moment of affection through performance or pursuit. It's also crucial to work on what therapists call co-regulation before you can effectively self-regulate. This means finding people, whether friends, family members, therapists, or support groups, who can help you experience what safe connection feels like. Your nervous system learns through repeated experience, not through intellectual understanding alone. You need to log hours of feeling safe in someone's presence, of expressing needs and having them met, of being vulnerable and not being punished for it. This is why therapy can be so powerful for healing attachment wounds. A good therapist provides a consistent, boundaried, safe relationship where you can begin to experience and internalize what secure attachment feels like. Over time, this experience gets encoded in your nervous system, and you start to seek out and recognize these qualities in romantic partners instead of being repelled by them. If the ideas we're exploring today are illuminating aspects of your emotional world that you've always felt but maybe never been able to name, I want to be present in other moments of clarity like this for you. Touch that subscribe button so we can continue this journey of self-understanding and healing together. Each subscription lets me know I'm truly helping someone like you, and that means the world to me. Another powerful practice is learning to identify and challenge the stories your mind tells you about healthy love. When you meet someone who treats you well, and you notice yourself thinking they're too nice, something must be wrong with them, or this won't last. Recognize these as old protective stories, not current reality. You can acknowledge the thought without believing it or acting on it. You might say to yourself, that's my anxious attachment talking, or that's the voice of my past trauma trying to keep me safe. Thank you for trying to protect me, but I'm going to choose differently this time. This isn't about positive thinking or denying your real concerns. It's about distinguishing between intuition, which is usually calm and clear and provides specific information, and anxiety, which is usually loud and catastrophic and based on past patterns rather than present evidence. Real intuition might tell you this person isn't right for me because our values don't align, or because they've shown me through their actions that they're not reliable. Anxiety disguised as intuition tells you this person is too good for me, I don't deserve this kind of treatment, or they're going to leave eventually so I should leave first. You also need to grieve what you didn't receive in childhood. This might sound strange, but carrying ungrieved loss keeps you stuck in the past. Part of why healthy love feels uncomfortable is that it highlights what you missed out on. When someone treats you with consistent kindness, it can bring up profound sadness about the fact that you didn't receive this kind of love when you needed it most. Many people try to bypass this grief, focusing only on moving forward or fixing themselves. But healing requires that you honor your losses. You needed parents or caregivers who could provide secure attachment, and you didn't get that. That's a real loss, and it deserves to be mourned. Creating space to feel and express this sadness, whether through journaling, therapy, art, or conversation with trusted friends, allows you to release some of the emotional charge around these early experiences. As you process the grief, you'll find that you have more capacity to receive love in the present, instead of constantly being pulled back into the past. Let me share with you the story of someone who moved through this process, and I want you to listen for the elements that might reflect your own journey. Sarah came to see me after ending yet another relationship with someone she described as perfect on paper. He was kind, stable, emotionally available, and genuinely interested in building a future with her. But as the relationship progressed and he continued to show up consistently, Sarah found herself feeling increasingly anxious and trapped. She started noticing things about him that annoyed her. the way he chewed, his laugh, the fact that he was always so positive. She felt guilty about these feelings because she knew he was treating her well, but the discomfort was overwhelming. Eventually, she broke up with him, citing a lack of chemistry. Within weeks, she was dating someone new who was charming, exciting, and completely unreliable. He would disappear for days, show up late to dates, and give her just enough attention to keep her hooked, but never enough to feel secure. And she felt alive. She felt that familiar cocktail of anxiety and longing that she had mistaken for passion her entire adult life. But this time, something was different. Sarah recognized the pattern. She could see what she was doing, and that awareness, painful as it was, became the doorway to change. Sarah began therapy and started to explore her childhood experiences. Her father had been an alcoholic, loving and engaged when he was sober, but angry and distant when he was drinking. She never knew which version of him she would encounter on any given day. As a child, she learned to read his moods carefully, to stay hypervigilant, and to feel responsible for managing his emotions. Love, in her early experience, was unpredictable and required constant effort. Fast forward to her adult relationships, and the pattern was clear. She was drawn to men who made her work for their affection because that felt like love to her nervous system. When her ex-boyfriend offered steady, reliable love, her body didn't recognize it. It felt wrong because it was so different from what she learned in childhood. Through therapy, Sarah began the slow work of retraining her nervous system. She practiced sitting with discomfort instead of immediately acting on it. She challenged her thoughts about what love should feel like. She grieved the secure childhood she didn't have. She started recognizing that what she called chemistry was actually anxiety, and what she called boredom was actually peace. It wasn't a quick or easy process. There were times she wanted to give up, times she reached out to old partners who she knew would recreate familiar pain. But she kept choosing differently. She started dating someone new, someone who reminded her of the boyfriend she had left. And this time, when the anxiety came up, she talked about it. She told him, "I'm feeling scared right now, not because you've done anything wrong, but because your consistency is unfamiliar to me. I need you to know I might push you away sometimes, but it's not about you." This vulnerability, this ability to name what was happening inside her, changed everything. Her partner was able to understand and support her through the discomfort. Over time, the anxiety decreased. Safe love started to feel less threatening. Sarah's nervous system began to recalibrate. She told me months later that she had a moment where she realized she felt peaceful in the relationship, and instead of panicking about the lack of drama, she felt grateful. That was when she knew something fundamental had shifted inside her. Your journey might not look exactly like Sarah's, but the principles are the same. Healing happens when you bring awareness to your patterns, understand their origins, challenge the beliefs and stories that keep them in place, and practice new responses even when they feel uncomfortable. It also requires tremendous self-compassion. You're not broken for feeling uncomfortable with healthy love. You're having a completely normal response to abnormal early experiences. Your nervous system developed these patterns to protect you, and they served a purpose at one time. The fact that they're no longer serving you doesn't mean you were wrong or weak for developing them in the first place. You were doing the best you could with the resources and information you had as a child. Now, as an adult, you have more resources, more awareness, and more choices. You can honor the parts of you that learn to survive in difficult circumstances, while also making space for new patterns that allow you to thrive. I also want to address a question that comes up frequently. How do you know if you're feeling uncomfortable because this is healthy love that your nervous system doesn't recognize, or because this person actually isn't right for you? This is a crucial distinction, and it requires honest self-reflection. Healthy discomfort feels like anxiety or unfamiliarity, but the person's behavior is consistently respectful, kind, and aligned with their words. You can point to specific ways they're showing up for you, even if receiving that care feels strange. Your friends and family, if they're healthy themselves, probably think this person is great for you. The discomfort is more about you adjusting to something new than about them doing something problematic. On the other hand, if your gut is telling you something is off, and you can point to specific behaviors that are concerning, like lying, controlling behavior, disrespect of boundaries, anger issues, substance abuse, or cruelty, then that's your intuition, not your attachment wound. The key is to get clear on whether you're reacting to the person's actual behavior or to your own unfamiliarity with healthy dynamics. Working with a therapist or counselor can help you distinguish between the two. It's also important to understand that healing attachment wounds doesn't mean you'll suddenly be attracted to everyone who treats you well, or that you should force yourself to stay in any relationship that feels safe but lacks genuine compatibility. Secure attachment and genuine compatibility can and should coexist. As you heal, you'll find that you're able to appreciate healthy treatment while also discerning whether you share values, interests, life goals, and that elusive but important quality of natural ease and enjoyment in someone's company. The difference is that you won't reject people solely because they're good to you, and you won't be drawn to people solely because they're bad to you. You'll be able to make clearer choices based on actual compatibility rather than on what feels familiar to your nervous system. Let's talk about some practical tools you can use in real time when you're in a relationship and feeling that uncomfortable pull to sabotage or run. First, practice the pause. When you notice yourself wanting to pick a fight, create distance, or end the relationship, take a 24-hour pause before acting on it. During that time, journal about what you're feeling. Ask yourself, what am I actually afraid of right now? What would it mean if I allowed myself to receive this person's love? What am I protecting myself from? Often what you'll discover is that you're not actually responding to anything the person has done in the present. You're responding to fears based on your past. The pause gives you time to separate past from present and make a choice from your adult self rather than from your wounded child self. Second, communicate with your partner about what you're experiencing. This is vulnerable and scary, but it builds intimacy and allows them to understand and support you. You might say something like, I notice I've been pulling away lately, and I want you to know it's not about you. I'm working through some old patterns where closeness feels threatening. I might need reassurance sometimes, and I'm learning how to receive your love without panicking. This kind of honesty invites your partner into your healing process and prevents them from taking your anxiety personally. Third, develop a grounding practice for when anxiety spikes. This could be deep breathing, placing your hand on your heart, and repeating a phrase like I am safe, I am here, I can handle this, or doing a body scan where you notice physical sensations without judgment. The goal is to help your nervous system down-regulate in the moment so you're not making relationship decisions from a place of panic. Fourth, keep a record of evidence. When your mind is telling you that this person is going to leave or that something is wrong, look at the actual evidence. Make a list of specific ways they've shown up for you. Text messages where they expressed care, times they followed through on commitments, moments they respected your boundaries or supported you through difficulty. This isn't about convincing yourself to stay in a bad relationship. It's about helping your brain recognize the difference between real threat and perceived threat based on old patterns. Your mind will always be able to generate catastrophic stories, but evidence helps ground you in reality. Fifth, and this is crucial, continue working on your relationship with yourself. So much of the discomfort with receiving love from others stems from a lack of self-love or self-worth. If deep down you believe you're not worthy of good treatment, then receiving good treatment will always feel like a setup for eventual disappointment. Building a solid relationship with yourself, learning to meet your own needs, developing self-compassion, and recognizing your inherent worth regardless of what you do or achieve. These practices create an internal foundation that makes it easier to receive love from others. You stop looking to your partner to fill a void or prove your worth, and you start seeing them as a complement to an already whole person. This shift changes everything. You're no longer desperate for love because you're terrified of being alone with yourself. You're choosing love because it enhances an already meaningful life. I want to acknowledge that this journey is not linear. You will have days where you feel like you're making progress, where healthy love feels more comfortable, where you're able to receive kindness without suspicion. And then you'll have days where old patterns come roaring back, where you want to run, where you feel overwhelmed by anxiety. This is normal. Healing happens in layers, and each time you work through another layer, you're building new neural pathways, creating new patterns, and deepening your capacity for secure attachment. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate the small victories. The time you didn't send the angry text you wanted to send. The moment you accepted a compliment without deflecting. The day you felt peaceful in your relationship and didn't manufacture drama. These moments matter. They're evidence that change is happening, even when it feels slow. Before we close, I want to leave you with a powerful reframe that might shift how you see this whole struggle. Your discomfort with healthy love is not a flaw. It's information. It's your nervous system telling you that something is different, unfamiliar, outside the parameters of what you learned in your formative years. That discomfort is actually the feeling of growth. It's the sensation of your nervous system stretching beyond its old limits. Every time you feel that anxiety when someone is good to you, you have a choice. You can interpret it as a sign that something is wrong and pull away, or you can interpret it as a sign that something is finally right and lean in. The discomfort itself is neutral. It's your interpretation and response that determine whether it leads to more suffering or to healing. When you start to see that uncomfortable feeling as a positive sign that you're breaking old patterns, rather than as a warning that you're in danger, everything changes. You begin to welcome the discomfort as evidence of transformation, rather than fearing it as a threat to your survival. You are capable of healing these wounds. You are capable of learning to receive love without sabotaging it. You are capable of building secure attachment as an adult, even if you didn't receive it as a child. The fact that you're here, watching this video, seeking understanding, being willing to look at painful patterns, that is evidence of your strength and your commitment to healing. That courage is what will carry you through this process. You don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to keep choosing awareness over automaticity, compassion over self-judgment, and growth over familiarity. The right person will be willing to walk this journey with you, to hold space for your healing, to understand that your anxiety is not about them, but about old wounds that are finally getting the attention they deserve. And as you heal, you'll discover that love doesn't have to hurt to be real, that peace is not the same as boredom, that you can feel safe and excited at the same time. That healthy love, once your nervous system learns to recognize it, is the most profound and sustainable form of connection you'll ever experience. Before we say goodbye, I want to thank you for dedicating this time to yourself, for being open to looking at patterns that are often painful to recognize. This is an act of courage that deserves to be celebrated. If you felt that this content illuminated something important in your life, subscribe to the channel so we can continue this conversation week after week. It's not about numbers for me. It's about knowing I can be present in the moments when you need clarity, understanding, and direction. Each new video is created thinking about people exactly like you who feel deeply and desire more meaningful connections. Touch that subscribe button as a commitment to your emotional well-being. I'm here to accompany every step of your path. And if this content was helpful to you, leave your like and share it with someone who might also benefit from these reflections.